Kenya is a land of extremes, beautiful and desolate, a land of rejoicing and sadness. It is modern, with high-rises and rush hour traffic and bicycle teams. And it is a land forgotten by time. For many Kenyans, especially in the northern desert communities, it's a daily struggle to live. More than 7 million people, many women and children, live in extreme poverty.
How far have they come?
50 kilometers from this source of water.
And how long did that take?
It's more than 10 hours.
It is into this environment that Mike Hamilton, UT's Director of Athletics, has entered. Back home, his decisions bring both support and anger. In the desert, sports seems trivial and far away. Hamilton is a board member of Bloodwater Mission, a faith-based nonprofit group headquartered in Nashville. It partners with local African organizations to bring clean water to communities, clean water that would save thousands of lives.
There's a saying here in Kenya, they say, P and Gima, they say water is life, and people here know that very well, because if you don't have clean water, you're not able to live a healthy life.
Joining Hamilton on this trip were other board members and 2 friends from Knoxville, Jim Grubbs and Chris Kittrell, who last year donated to a fundraiser that raised money for African adoptions and for projects in Africa. Among the aims of this trip is to see how that money was spent.
Once a week. Because the other days
Let's talk to the pilots from
Okay. We're making an impact here.
Our first stop is Torvi, a small settlement near the Ethiopian border. We're met by members of the Food for the Hungry, Bloodwater's partner in Kenya. It is a hot, arid, awful place. One of the members of our party said in all the work that they've done, this is about as remote as it gets. So there's just nothing anywhere around here. Especially water. This is the local reservoir used by both people and livestock, but not lately. It hasn't rained here in more than a year. Survival, a daily struggle.
America, from America.
Yes.
Despite the difficulties, the people, especially the children, are resilient, finding joy even in simple things like a visit from strangers.
You say hello? Hello? Just shake my hand. Why don't you shake my hand? Yeah.
The group is taken to the school where Knoxville money was used to build this rainwater catchment system. Nothing fancy or high-tech, but vital in holding precious water. Everyone prays that March, the beginning of the rainy season, will bring rain.
They're tough. I mean, yeah, we think we're tough, but no, this is tough, what they do day in, day out.
The group is entertained by the children of the school, many of them orphans, victims of the AIDS pandemic. For Hamilton, this is a personal mission. Last year, he and his wife Beth adopted 3 children from Ethiopia. Their youngest, Kalu, is HIV positive. She's healthy thanks to medicines readily available in America. The Hamiltons founded the Kalu Grace Foundation, which helps American families adopt African children. That association led the Hamiltons to Bloodwater Mission, which, while not directly involved in the orphan crisis, is involved in many of the causes of the crisis.
It's easy when you're here, and I think we'll see this over the next few days, to get overwhelmed, because I think the things that we're going to see will be overwhelming. But we can't be focused on the mountain. We have to be focused on the path to climb the mountain and taking one step at a time, and sometimes that means one person at a time. And if I think we'll do that, and we would do it as a society, we'd go a lot longer.
We leave Torby, but our day in the desert is not yet done.
Our aim is for this child to get education, and this has to be achieved.
We stop at another school a distance away. The headmaster explains how the drought has destroyed livestock and how education may be these children's only escape. Near the school is a borehole, a deep surface well used by people and livestock. Again, there is a Knoxville connection. The generator used to draw the water was rebuilt by Bloodwater Mission.
Now tell me again, how many animals?
An average of 7,000 per day.
Per day?
Yes.
And many of these animals have traveled 2 to 3 days to get here. But the Bloodwater team notices a problem.
It's a little bit frustrating because you've got, just right over here, you've got clean water coming from a 700-foot deep hole that's pristine and clean, and they've actually have a different area for the animals to drink from, but because of the lack of water right now, they're letting the animals drink as well, and then they're taking their water from the same water that the animals are drinking, which leads to some of the complications we've been talking about, the sickness and illness.
While frustrating, it is not unexpected.
Patience is a significant virtue.
The Bloodwater team knows it will take time to change old habits. From the desert town of Torbi, near the Ethiopian border, the Bloodwater Mission team travels across the desert on a surface that barely qualifies as a road. We arrive at the town of Marsabit well after dark. The drive has been a difficult one.
Dust. Yeah, look at that.
After a good night's rest and a breakfast of eggs and toast, we walked the short distance from our guest house to the Tumaini Clinic, built and operated in part from funds raised last year in Knoxville. In the more than year that this clinic has been in operation, they have tested some 6,000 patients for HIV/AIDS. They found 235 with AIDS, and they've tried to place them into programs to try to help resolve their issues. Mike Hamilton, UT Athletic Director and Bloodwater Mission board member, organized last year's fundraiser. He's here to make sure those dollars were well spent. His interest in Africa, the result of he and his wife Beth's adoption of 3 children from Ethiopia. His youngest, Kalu, is HIV positive.
When we had our event last April and we talked about the opportunity to affect change in Africa, I just thought it was really important that we visit here and see what those changes look like.
You have to take the height as a kid.
What the team sees is impressive. The staff shows us what they do here. It seems in ways primitive by American standards, but vital for the people of Marsabit, especially in their battle with HIV/AIDS.
You just feel like crying, you know. I mean, just being in the class shoes, it's really, you feel it.
The AIDS epidemic in Africa is responsible for millions of deaths, leaving in its wake an orphan crisis of staggering proportions. Bloodwater's mission is to help in the battle against AIDS. Surprisingly, access to clean water is part of that strategy.
People who are HIV positive, their immune systems are so weak that access to clean water is a lifesaver for them. Because if they drink bad water, if they have diarrhea, it compromises their ability to survive.
The group is introduced to women and children living with HIV and helped by the clinic made possible by dollars from Knoxville. Walray, an 8-year-old orphan whose parents both died of AIDS. 31-year-old Amina Dibuhufu, an AIDS widow, and her 5-year-old daughter, both shunned by family because of HIV.
She said she was sick for almost 5 good years.
The testimonials are powerful, bringing tears to some in the group. Afterwards, we talked with Ida Samir, the driving force behind the clinic, and we asked her what would have happened to the 8-year-old if the clinic had never been built.
What would have happened to her?
Dying after a very short while, without ARVs, without care, without treatment, dying.
The visit is eye-opening and sobering. One of the team members offers a prayer.
Thank you for blessing this group, being with them and keeping their strength up. Amen.
Amen. The group is next taken to a camp for refugees, and again, more music, and the mood begins to lighten after a tough morning. Group members are encouraged to dance, and they do. Knoxvillian Chris Kittrell's spin move brings smiles. Even Hamilton joins in. Everyone is having a good time, but around them, it's hard to ignore what they see. These huts serve as home for the people here in this camp. They are made simply with sticks and grass and cardboard covered by a tarp. It is here that 280 people in 54 households live. 33-year-old Wako Godano is among them. Before coming to this camp, Wako says he and his family had nothing. Today, he has a home and a small plot of land where he and his wife raised 10 children, several of them nieces and nephews. To the people of the camp, these homes and this land is wealth.
Right now, if I'll die, I know my child will inherit that piece of land from me. It's very important.
Pride of ownership beams across his face, and it's not lost on board member Michelle Kahn.
You look around and you do realize it's very different, and yet I'm always so impressed with the dignity and the hope of the people that I get to meet, and the courage and the strength of people, and the fact that he's caring for his family and obviously so proud to own this plot of land and what that means for him and for his future.
The team leaves the camp, dubbed Camp Karibu, which means welcome in Swahili. All of us leave with a greater appreciation of these people whose dignity rises above the poverty.